Imagine closing your eyes in the 21st century and waking up surrounded by gorgeous princes in the year 941. It sounds like the perfect setup for a fantasy romance. But the early Goryeo dynasty was highly volatile. King Taejo had dozens of ambitious heirs, no clear line of succession, and a court filled with heavily armed rival political factions. A modern person, like Hae-soo, steps into this environment believing in human rights, equality, and the freedom to speak her mind. In the year 941, speaking out of turn to a royal does not earn you a quirky reputation. It gets you executed. We are going to strip away the fiction and look directly at the fact-checked history of the Goryeo court to see how someone from the modern world could actually navigate this environment. Survival in this era depends on more than just charm. It requires navigating a landscape where the penalty for a single social misunderstanding is death. The danger starts at the very top of the political structure. King Taejo unified the Korean peninsula by forging alliances with rival noble families. To cement those alliances, he took 29 wives. This animated family tree illustrates the sheer volume of heirs. 1 king and 29 wives, expanding rapidly into dozens of princes. Without a single uncontested heir, the royal court became a massive power vacuum. Fratricide became a political necessity to secure the throne. The gravity of royal succession usually ended in blood. These ancient stone burial mounds and ceremonial pillars stand as physical reminders of a period where taking the crown almost guaranteed you would have to kill your own family members to keep it. Hae-soo landed in a zero-sum game of royal survival. Every prince around her is simultaneously a predator looking to secure his own power and a target for his brothers. A modern mindset assumes social mobility, that hard work or a good personality can change your station in life. Goryeo society operated on a rigid, inescapable caste system, where birth dictated your entire existence. A massive portion of the population in 10th century Korea were slaves. Slavery functioned as the primary economic backbone for the nobility, providing the manual labor that sustained their wealth and military power. Women faced severe restrictions and were bound to strict societal roles dictated by their family status. Hae-soo's outspoken, informal demeanor directly violates the behavioral codes enforced under the threat of severe physical punishment. The spiritual life of the era creates a jarring contrast to the violence of the court. State-sponsored Buddhism shaped Goryeo culture, focusing on enlightenment and peace. Yet the very nobles who commissioned intricate art like this hanging scroll painting were actively plotting against each other. The elite isolated themselves behind immense wealth. Artifacts like this green Celadon wine ewer and bowl highlight a highly sophisticated material culture restricted strictly to the royal classes, completely inaccessible to the common people struggling outside the palace walls. Every time Hae-soo acts according to her 21st century values, she commits severe social transgressions. Historically, these actions invited brutal retaliation from a society built on absolute hierarchy. The brooding Prince Wang-so is based on a real, deeply pragmatic historical figure, the future King Gwangjong. Upon taking the throne, Gwangjong initiated sweeping, ruthless purges. He ordered the execution of political rivals, powerful nobles, and members of his own family to centralize authority in a heavily fractured kingdom. This dual-axis chart reveals two conflicting trends in the historical record. On one axis, we see the high frequency of Gwangjong's political purges. On the other, we see a sudden shift in 956, the enactment of the Emancipation of Slaves Act. Freeing slaves in 956 had nothing to do with modern human rights. It was a calculated political maneuver. By freeing the slaves owned by rival noble families, Gwangjong instantly crippled their private armies and dismantled their economic power. Gwangjong's actions terrify a modern observer like Hae-soo, yet executing rivals and dismantling noble wealth were the exact brutal measures required to stabilize early Goryeo and prevent total civil war. Moonlovers uses the modern girl trope to simulate the friction between our current values and the reality of the 10th century. Watching history unfold through Hae-soo's eyes transforms abstract facts into lived realities. It assigns real human weight to the statistics of royal purges and strict social hierarchies. To survive Goryeo, a visitor has to trade modern morality for medieval pragmatism. By the time the political dust settles, the modern observer is often forced to accept that the very violence they despise was the only thing holding the state together. Leave a comment below letting me know exactly how long you think you would survive in King Taejo's court. If you want to see how other historical periods stack up in terms of sheer survival difficulty, check out our video on the brutal realities of the Joseon dynasty right here, and subscribe to the channel for more historical breakdowns.